from the paddock at Yonkers Raceway in New York. We're taking an advanced look at Tuesday afternoon's races, specifically races 7 through 11 at Yonkers. 5 races at 1.25 miles, 2 with 12-horse fields and 3 with 10-horse fields. And with us to take a peek at those races is Jason Bartlett, who is not only Yonkers' leading driver, but America's leading driver. Thanks for joining us, Jason.
Thank you, Pete.
In the 7th race on Tuesday, which is a $30,000 claim, and non-winners a 12 last 6, you're driving Massacaya for trainer Jason Robinson. And you had a win and a second with this one at this level and this distance, both one notch down. Then been kind of overmatched in a bunch of races, some open tries. Now seems to be back where he belongs.
Yeah, I kind of drove him bad last week. I probably should have gone forward with him. Instead I tried to get cover. And, they just went a slow half, trotted home real fast. So I like this horse in this spot. He's a very handy horse. Kind of do anything you want to do. So, this looks like a pretty good race for him. He's been racing a lot better horses, recently, dropping way down from the open now back down to 12,000. So I'd expect a pretty good performance out of him.
Yeah, and again, the handiness, I guess, really particularly comes in handy when he's in the second tier. The second that you had with him was from the 9 post, so that really doesn't seem to be an issue for this one.
No, it looks like here that the 1 gets out of there pretty well. So, we should be forwardly placed, obviously, if the 1 gets out of there on his right foot. So, I think this horse has a really good shot to win.
Great, and in the 8th race, you're driving a horse who's been very popular at the claiming box, very popular in terms of getting his picture taken this year. And has been a real big factor at this level. Trainer Richie Banka trains this one, and he was claimed by Richie in his last one, now is reunited with you, and you certainly had some success with this one earlier this year.
Yeah, looks like, it's 12-horse field. This one, the 1 can get out of there, she can leave. She's pretty handy herself. She doesn't like to be used real hard early, especially in the 1.25 mile races. So you got to watch out for that. But the mile races you can actually use a little bit more early. But here you got to be careful of how much you use early here in the 1.25 miles.
Yeah, I was going to say that some of the races it looks like this one really at the end maybe hasn't finished as well at the 1.25 miles.
Right. Yeah. If you use it too hard early in the 1.25 miles, she just doesn't have it at the end. So I went a 1.25 mile race with her from off the trot, and she was super. So depends on how fast they're going early.
But we're not giving any secrets here. In the 8th race on Tuesday, you got a horse trained by Richie Banka, driven by Jason Bartlett. I'm sure he's going to get a lot of attention at the tote board. In the 9th race, speaking of another powerful trainer-driving combination, you're driving Timmy Tee for trainer Heidi Rohr, which is always a very strong combination. This one makes the Yonkers debut after a really sharp 2 starts since moving into the Rohr barn. Well, what do you know about this one?
They recently bought him 2 or 3 starts ago. They really liked the horse. I watched the replay last week, and went really, really handy. The horse, he leaves the gate really well, so should be up close. The 3, if he doesn't break, off the start, is the horse to beat, obviously. But Heidi really likes this horse. A good friend of mine from Maine owns it with Heidi, so I'd expect pretty good things out of this horse.
All right, in race 10, you're driving this time from the rail. Muscles Princetonian was claimed by the also owner Robertson for $12,500 and was 5th in his last at this level. What do you know about this one?
Tell you the truth, not much. Just raced against him enough. I know I raced against him a lot with Tyler, and Amber had him. That's about it. I've never driven the horse. So I'm not really that sure.
Yeah, it did finish 4th at the 1.25 mile distance, and certainly in this kind of a situation, I imagine you're at least glad you have the rail. That helps with a couple of trailers.
Yeah, it looks like he has a little bit of gate speed, and doesn't look like that really hard of a group here. So by looking at the lines, looking at the other lines, comparing the 2, we got a really good shot to win this race. The 10 horse has been really good, but he has second tier. Might have traffic trouble, might not, but looks like we have a fair shot here.
And in the 11th race, you're driving the 2 Prince Loma. Now, one of the things on Tuesday, Prince Lomont's going to be heading over to the Yonkers paddock. He's had 2 different drivers in his last 4 races, and he's going to be a little concerned, I'm sure, which of the drivers is going to be back aboard today. When he gets here, I'm sure he's going to be very happy to see that it's our leading driver, Jason Bartlett. He hasn't won in a while, but he's been a real check earner at this level. And how's he been?
He's been, decent. Last week I got, tried to get him in play early. A lot of horses left underneath me, so that didn't really work out. But here, I would say the 1 is horse to beat. If he's halfway decent, he's got some back class, that horse. So, we should be able to get out of there, get in a good spot, and then go from there.
Any thoughts about how the 1.25 miles affects this one?
Not that bad. He's just kind of a 1-speed horse. Doesn't seem to get tired, but not real flashy, not real quick. So, where we get away sometimes is where we sit.
Okay, and again, Jason's going to be driving in all 5 legs of Tuesday afternoon's Pick 5, races 7 through 11. And again, Jason continues to be the leading driver in North America, and he's headed for another just incredible year. Thanks for joining us, Jason.
Thank you, Pete.